Right, okay, let's get started. So great to see everyone this afternoon. My name's Minnie Guinness. I'm a technical enablement consultant for Modern Workplace. I'm joined this afternoon by my colleague Christina Bennington. She is our lead Microsoft consultant. So this afternoon session is going to be an introduction to Windows 365. It's highly anticipated. I think there's been murmurs of this in the industry for quite some time now. So it's great to see it finally launch, and particularly at a time when hybrid work and flexible and remote working has become all the more prevalent in today's world. So there's been a lot of interest in the product since it's been announced at Inspire back in July. So hopefully today will answer some, if not all of your questions that you have. So we've got a relatively short slide deck to show you today. It's only going to be about 20 to 30 minutes. So there's plenty of opportunity for a Q&A at the end. And if you do have any questions throughout, please just pop them in the box and we'll come to them at the end. And today's session will also be recorded. So you will get a recording and a copy of the slides following the sessions and any FAQ around Windows 365. So let's get started. So, as we emerge from the pandemic and shift into a new world of hybrid work, organizations will need to adopt digital solutions to keep their people connected and collaborating, whether they're working from home or at the office or anywhere in between. So, flexible work lets us do more. It opens possibilities for people everywhere, and people don't want this flexibility to end. It's reflected in the data. So, recently, Microsoft published its annual Work Trend Index with findings from a study of more than 30,000 people in 31 countries. Uh, 73% of workers say they want flexible remote work options. And then at the same time, 67% of employees say they want more in person collaboration with their teams post pandemic. And Microsoft also heard from 80% of managers saying that they expect more flexible work from home policies post pandemic. So what we see here is employees saying they want more flexible remote work options, but at the same time also saying that they want more in-person collaboration. So this is the hybrid work paradox. So we're seeing a shift in workforce and organizational needs. This slide just shows a few of them. So every day, organizations are dealing with expansion and change while also building new businesses and products. And they need to react quickly to global economic shifts, all while facing the most complex cybersecurity landscape we've ever seen. An increase in temporary workers and contractors come to the fore even more in the economic trends. And also bring your PC, bring your own PC shows a clear trend to allow end users to use their own PCs to deliver work. Security and compliance has been at the top of mind for everyone at this point due to high profile ransomware cases all being in the news quite recently. So, organizations everywhere have a growing need to support hybrid work policies and, in general, flexible work policies. This enabling an elastic workforce, temporary or seasonal workers, and people working across company owned and personal devices, interns and contractors, to software developers and industrial designers are just some examples. These are just some of many ways that they need to deliver agile and resilient solutions. So, as I'm sure you all know firsthand, the shift to hybrid work creates new opportunities, but it also creates new challenges. Things look different when the IT team isn't down the hall from employees who need help. New employees need to be onboarded, distributed teams need to be connected, specialized workloads need to be enabled, and new projects need to be scaled up. So IT needs to not only get employees set up and supported ongoing, but they also need to be prepared to respond to rapidly changing environments while maintaining business continuity. And also, while managing this, IT also needs to ensure they're keeping their estate secured and meeting ever-changing regulatory requirements. So it is a challenge to address these needs without agility, without overburdening IT, letting costs get out of control, sacrificing productivity, or compromising security. And we do hear from customers just how hard and time consuming this can be to manage. To navigate these challenges, companies are using tools available to them today. The client PC is known and loved, and it's what people are most familiar with. So many larger organizations have also added traditional virtualization if they need more scale up or scale for app streaming, while others find value in desktop as a service. These solutions can help address common commercial needs, but they're not always suitable for all scenarios or resources. So, with virtualization, this has been around for decades. It was a game changer for many organizations, but it does require IT to have experience with virtualization that many companies aren't able to or don't want to invest in. And then you've got desktop as a service. It's a newer concept offering a cloud based operating system. Many organizations have adopted it and is expected to grow. But desktop as a service has limited infrastructure integration, requires learning a new provisioning flow and in a new admin tool, and also billing systems are siloed. So learning from these solutions, Microsoft is creating a new category of hybrid personal computing. So, Windows has always been at the heart of Microsoft for decades. It's the most fundamental and the most innovative platform for work, learning, creativity, and development. So, today we unlock a new category of hybrid personal computing that delivers Windows 10 or Windows 11 when it's available from the cloud with the cloud PC. So, to deliver on that promise, cloud PCs offer a unique set of capabilities different from what is available today. So, Cloud PC is your personalized desktop, apps, settings, and content streamed securely from the Microsoft Cloud to any of your devices. So, they deliver a distinctive interaction between the Microsoft Cloud and the end user experience on the device, providing a persistent integration between the cloud and PC operating system for a fluid and consistent experience. Also, a unified security and identity management from the cloud to the device, even on a personal device. Also, a seamless compute and storage, hands off, that can rapidly scale to meet your needs. And in the future, the ability to work offline and instantly resync when connected. So, Microsoft is uniquely positioned to bring together the PC and the cloud with a consistent and integrated Windows experience. And Windows 365 does just that. So, just as Microsoft brought Office to the cloud with Office 365 10 years ago, they're bringing Windows to the cloud with Windows 365. So, Windows now evolves from being a device based operating system to a hybrid personal computing platform, flexible for people, scalable for business, and powerful for innovation. Windows 365 is a cloud service that introduces a new way to experience Windows 10 or Windows 11 when it's available to businesses of all sizes, securely streaming the full Windows experience with apps, data, and settings from the Microsoft Cloud to any personal or corporate device. So with Windows 365, you can assign users one cloud PC or many cloud PCs that align to the work they need to do. So Each cloud PC can align to a different configuration of compute power and storage. And Windows 365 also creates a new hybrid personal computing category called Cloud PC, which uses both the power of the cloud and the capabilities of the device to provide a full personalized Windows experience. So this new Windows experience comes as organizations around the world grapple with the best ways to facilitate hybrid work models where employees are both on site and distributed across the globe. So the Windows 365 Cloud PC experience is versatile, familiar, and productive by delivering users their personalized content, settings, and applications. It's very simple to deploy and manage from a single console. It's easy for anyone to use. It's secure by design, leaving no data on the device. It's available on any device and optimized for the best experience on a Windows PC at a predictable price. And lastly, it's scalable and resilient to support changing workforce needs and new business scenarios. So now I'm just going to pass you over to my colleague Christina, and she will talk you through the rest of this session.
Thanks, Minnie. So with all of the stuff that Minnie's just covered, Microsoft are aiming to make Windows 365 a loved solution by users and also trusted by partners like yourself by delivering the simplicity, versatility, and security needed to enable the hybrid work. So we're going to look at this from kind of two aspects here, the kind of user experience as well as your experience as partners. So from the end user side of things, your customers will be able to boot their cloud PC instantly. So stream their personalized Windows experience, so their apps, their content settings to any device. It's streamed from the cloud and travels with your users. So it's always ready and always updated wherever they need to work and on whatever device they need to work on. And they can literally pick up right where they left off, because the state of the cloud PC will remain the same even when they switch devices. So it's a really simple and really versatile Windows experience delivered completely by the Microsoft Cloud. But then if we look at it from yours as a partner's perspective, it actually simplifies the procurement, deployment, and management, as well as updates as well, because unlike other solutions, it uses virtualization behind the scenes. It offers a number of configuration options, which mean you can really easily scale it to meet the needs of the employees, to make sure that they've got the right processing power, the right storage, which enables them to then do their job when and how they need it. But as Minnie said as well, the Windows 365 is secure by design and it's built with the principles of zero trust. So Windows 365 secures and stores information in the cloud, not on the device. So it provides a really secure, productive experience for users. It's always up to date, and building on the strength of rich Microsoft security capabilities and baselines, it takes away layers of security complexity, but also recommends the best security settings for the environment at hand. We know as well that sometimes the procurement process can be tedious for partners, but with Windows 365, it really makes purchasing cloud PCs really easy. It's got that predictable per user per month pricing. So now we'll look at some of the integrations with Microsoft Cloud Services. With Windows 365, it means that you can leverage a lot of your existing infrastructure. It delivers native integration across Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Defender, the Microsoft 365 applications, as well as Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and really doesn't require any special skills or previous experience with virtualization. It literally allows you to use the exact same tools you'd use today to manage your devices. But now you can manage your physical and virtual endpoints together side by side in the Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So with Windows 365, what does this mean for the workforce? It means that basically they'll have access to their personalized Windows experience securely streamed from the Microsoft Cloud to any of their devices. The business needs are met by not only enabling hybrid work scenarios, but also by unlocking new opportunities and user scenarios, whilst also keeping the business running, even if the environment around you is changing. So as a partner, you can utilize the complete service to deliver a secure hybrid personal computing experience to your customers, whilst also leveraging the benefits of that simplified procurement and management and ease to scale. So you can then build out your managed services around Windows 365. It could also drive upsell to Microsoft 365 E3 or E5, and also increase the adoption of Endpoint Manager and its extensive cloud management capabilities, making it easier and simpler to manage your customers' endpoints, saving you time and money. So as we've already discussed, Windows 365 is really versatile in order to meet the needs of different types of users. You can see on the screen here that there's a range of 12 different configurations. So there's an entry level 1 CPU with 2 gigabytes of RAM. This is probably most suitable for frontline workers, those that have kind of small single line of business applications, and maybe a small amount of storage. But you'll see it goes all the way through to 8 virtual CPUs with 30 gig of RAM there. But there's a lot of flexibility in between as well, as you can see. You can access it from a variety of devices and operating systems. Most modern devices with an internet connection will work with Windows 365, including devices that are supported by Windows 10 and, as Minnie said earlier, when it's available, Windows 11 as well. But also Mac operating systems, iOS, Android, whatever you're looking at there. It only really requires a device that includes the HTML5 browser and a DSL connection, or alternatively a wireless internet connection that's capable of just streaming a video, basically. How much bandwidth you need will just purely depend on what the workload is. So now we'll take a look at the purchasing and licensing options. Windows 365 offers 2 editions. So you've got Windows 365 Enterprise and Windows 365 Business. They each include a complete cloud-based offering with multiple cloud PC configurations based on whatever those performance needs might be. You can purchase Windows 365 as a separate license per user for a fixed monthly fee to access and use the cloud PCs, but you might have additional costs based on network usage, which I'll come to a little bit later on. The differences between the 2 editions are similar to your standard Microsoft 365. So the business edition is 300 seats or less. No prerequisites. It's literally all managed through the web portal where you can allocate your cloud PCs to users. The Enterprise edition, on the other hand, that is unlimited amount of users, but it does have a prerequisite requirement. So it needs you to have Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise edition, Azure Active Directory Premium Plan 1, and for an Intune or Microsoft Endpoint Manager license as well, as all of it is managed through that Endpoint Manager portal. But Windows 365 is meant to support a wide range of individual productivity scenarios, including document and content creation, sharing, meetings, and collaboration. So the intended use of Windows 365 doesn't include server-like usage, such as website hosting or content streaming, for example. Again, back to the differences between Windows 365 Enterprise and Business. With Enterprise, all of the network traffic goes through the Azure Virtual Network, which is used to set up on-premise network connections. So that is where you might experience some Azure bandwidth pricing for the network usage there. But with Windows 365 for Business, typical outbound data activities include kind of saving a file from the cloud PC to an external location, or maybe data transfer outside of Microsoft Cloud services. The outbound data levels included with Windows 365 Business are intended to cover those kind of typical typical user activities. But anything beyond those levels, Microsoft actually might restrict the bandwidth. and the outbound data volume on a case-by-case basis, just to really protect the quality of service for all Windows 365 users. It's also worth noting as well that if you are a partner that benefits from Azure credit, Windows 365 is a modern workplace SKU, so unfortunately you can't use your Azure credit against anything against Windows 365. Trials as well, you've probably heard in the news there was a lot about this. So trials were previously available, but they have since been put on hold just due to that overwhelming demand, really. At the moment, we're not sure if or when these are going to come back, but we'll kind of keep you updated as and when that situation changes. In terms of subscription length, when you're purchasing the licenses, you can pay annually or monthly through CSP. And even when the changes that come in as a result of the new commerce experience, Windows 365 will be one of the only SKUs that won't be subject to that 20% uplift in price for the monthly subscriptions. So Windows Hybrid Benefit, it's worth noting that there's a discount available for current Windows 10 Pro users. It's called Windows Hybrid Benefit. This is essentially a licensing benefit that really helps just to reduce the cost of Windows 365 Business. So with that hybrid benefit, you'll receive a discount of up to 16% on your Windows 365 Business subscription. So note, it's the business one, not the enterprise SKU. And it's only if you already use Windows 10 Pro on a device. And those savings can kind of vary by Windows 365 PC configuration and region. So it's up to 16% discount there. The customers that qualify are those that have devices with a valid Windows 10 Pro license. Each person that's assigned a Windows 365 Business license with the hybrid benefit attached must be the primary user of a Windows 10 Pro licensed device, and that device must be their primary work device. So in order to maintain that discounted pricing during the subscription term, at any point during that term which you access the Windows 365 service, you need to ensure that you're accessing it from that licensed Windows 10 Pro device at least once during that term. So we're now going to briefly touch on the comparison between AVD and W365. I'm sure a lot of you are probably wondering if it's a replacement or a supplementary product. I'm only going to touch on this briefly here purely because I'm not an AVD expert, but we do also have another workshop next week, which is led by our Azure practice, and that's going to go into way more depth and right into the nitty-gritty of the comparison. So that's on the 29th of September. I'm sure you've probably all had the invitations, but if not, feel free to get in touch with myself and Minnie and we can send that across to you. So Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365 are both complementary services. Windows 365 was designed for simplicity, so it's there to allow customers to get the benefits of a personalized cloud PC without requiring that VDI or Azure expertise. It also provides that predictable per user per month pricing to simplify managing costs. And Windows 365 is for those customers who aren't already widely invested in VDI or virtualization expertise or resources, or those that kind of wish to move to a fixed cost per user or as a service model. Whereas Azure Virtual Desktop, on the other hand, was designed really for maximum flexibility. It provides organizations that have that virtualization experience with a flexible but highly customizable option. It's completely consumption-based pricing, which makes it really appropriate for any scenario, including those low usage use cases. And it also supports non-persistent desktops, remote app streaming, multi-session virtual machines, and deep customization. Microsoft do still expect Azure Virtual Desktop to continue on its kind of growth pattern, even as Windows 365 has been introduced. Customers will continue to use AVD for its kind of flexibility and customization, particularly if they already have those virtualization resources. And we can see the partner opportunity continuing to grow for Azure Virtual Desktop to meet this need alongside Windows 365. And Microsoft have really just provided the ability for partners to provide remote app streaming for external organizations. So this opens up the opportunity for ISVs to sell their apps on top of Azure Virtual Desktop. So just to drill a little bit further into those differences, this chart allows you to think about the different elements that make up a virtualization stack and also kind of who is responsible for what. So if we start on the left-hand side, here is where you'll find your traditional on-premise Citrix-based virtualization, where everything is managed by the user or the partner from the data center all the way through to the apps. As you move into Azure and start running Citrix on the Azure platform, you're looking at more of an infrastructure as a service. And then moving into AVD, Microsoft take over even more of the responsibility to run some of the virtualization control plane, providing it as a platform as a service. So the way to think of Windows 365 is as a software as a service model. So you go into the Microsoft 365 admin portal, you use the Microsoft Endpoint Manager to administer it, and then you can start deploying your personalized virtual machines with whatever configuration you need. The image that you deploy can either be a gallery Windows 10 image, or it can be a classic gold image. So if you have a corporate image already, you can deploy that with whatever apps or agent security stack that you like. There's really kind of no limitation in what you can do with it. It's literally a PC in the cloud. So you might be wondering what the typical use case scenarios are for Windows 365. With it being a brand new product, there isn't really a whole host of example cases, but Microsoft did open it up to a series of preview customers to work with it on a trial basis before it was launched. And what they found was that as they started talking to these customers about it, they were actually finding their own use cases within their kind of own scenario. So classic use cases, as with a lot of remote desktop solutions, is the security piece, that ability to run the entire PC and maintain the PC, the operating system, the apps and the data in the cloud and keep it in the cloud is a really great way to drive solid security and compliance. There's also the ability to scale. So you might have customers who most of the time need a pretty standard Windows environment, but for some of the year, perhaps you've got a traditional kind of knowledge worker, and most of the year, maybe they're able to use a standard PC. But there might be times of the year when they need to do some kind of high-end compute or data processing, and they need that kind of higher compute capacity. Graphic designers is also another example that falls into this. Perhaps the PC that they use is capable of assisting with their day-to-day, but every so often they have a large project that maybe needs a lot more storage or compute capacity. And now, of course, you can deliver this in the cloud with Windows 365 without that need to invest upfront in more kind of higher capacity hardware. Plenty of opportunities for bring your own device. So at the start of the pandemic, when everyone was forced to work remotely and with the device shortages, employers now have the opportunity to allow their employees to use their own devices, whatever that may be, whether it's an iPad, a Chromebook, Linux, whatever that looks like. They'll have full access to a Windows corporate desktop without compromising the security. Disaster recovery is another area of opportunity for Windows 365. It means that it gives people the ability to work from anywhere with no notice. So as long as they can get access to an internet connection and browser, they can use Windows 365. But the most common use case we're seeing is through temporary or elastic workers, particularly those in the public sector with contractors kind of coming in and out and working on projects, Windows 365 gives them the ability to provide those contractors with a cloud PC instantly to whatever device the contractor already owns. For example, we've got a partner that has an opportunity for Windows 365 at the moment. They work with a customer who uses a lot of contractors, and the process that they're going through at the moment is that the partner will ship out hardware to the contractors every 6 months for the duration of their contract. At the end of that 6-month contract, the contractor will then send the laptop back to the partner, who then stores it for the next time they need to send stuff out. So Windows 365 completely removes that need. So it removes the costs of storage, it removes the cost of posting. It means that they can just easily spin up a Windows 365 cloud PC to whatever device that contractor already owns. You can also apply that same example when working with staff members multinationally. So again, the ability to be able to offshore work and still provide those staff members working abroad with a secure environment without the need to ship any of that physical hardware. Mergers and acquisitions, again, this is another interesting opportunity. Maybe one of your customers purchases another company and then they want to onboard that company into their existing environment. They can do that quickly. You can take on their existing hardware and then deploy them that corporate desktop. So you can see there's a couple of different scenarios, a whole different host of opportunities here, but it's not really limited to even just those. It opens a lot of doors for you as partners to go out and kind of build your managed services around Windows 365, utilizing some of these kind of use case scenarios here. So to wrap up with some key takeaways for Windows 365, it really is a fully personalized Windows experience in the cloud. It's delivered as a software as a service solution, so it really should be just that simple. Completely tailorable to whatever apps or services you need. And it's in that kind of new category that Microsoft are calling of cloud PC, that hybrid Windows environment. And it massively expands the use case for virtualization to improve security, to solve many of the issues we've taken you through around remote and hybrid work, whilst also providing you some additional opportunities for wraparound managed services. So I think that is everything we've got in terms of content for today. Let's have a look at the Q&A box and see what we've got, if anything. So Eddie, a question around installing programs in Windows 365, for instance, Sage accounts. I'm aware that you can do some line of business, but Sage, I'm unsure. So I'll check on that one for you and let you know. Carl Kelly, how will Windows 365 run on a low spec machine? Literally, it's a stream into another device. So it doesn't, if you've got a low spec machine, that's absolutely fine. You'll replicate essentially what you need with the cloud PC. So even if it's low spec, you can have a higher spec cloud PC, which allows you that additional capacity there. Carissa Gardner, is Windows 365 compatible with other endpoint managers, i.e. Datto or SolarWinds? By my understanding, no. I think it is just the endpoint manager, but again, I can check on that for you. We'll put together an FAQ after today, so if there are any unanswered questions, we can get those sent out to you. Matthew Kerr, can Windows 365 join an Active Directory domain, or is it just purely an Azure Active Directory domain? It's my understanding that it's the Azure Active Directory domain. It needs Active Directory Premium P1, but again, we can just confirm and make sure that is correct for you. Scott Brand, how would the pricing model work if the staff member was a part-time employee or contractor, and therefore the usage was reduced versus a full-time employee's usage? If I'm understanding what you mean, it's literally just like a license, so you can cancel it and change it at any time. If you wanted to downgrade it to a lower spec machine, then you can do that. That's absolutely fine. It works literally like a Microsoft 365 license. Sorry, I'm getting quite a lot of questions here. I'm trying to make sure that we answer them all. Alex Hodgson, how do Windows 365 devices interact with local network, e.g. printers, scanners, USB device, please? I'm assuming that would probably come from your device and the connections within there, but again, I'm not entirely sure on that one, so I'll again check on that for you. John Dickinson, can you use biometrics or text authentication app, MFA, to sign into Windows 365? Yes. It's completely protected by multi-factor authentication, so by all means you can. It's secured by that, so yes, definitely. Carl Gibson, to ensure they are licensed, would they need a local Windows 10 operating system, or could they connect with a Chromebook and just have related Microsoft 365 licenses also allocated? That would probably depend on which one they're looking at, but yes, I believe that is absolutely fine. Alex Hodgson, can several users share one Windows 365 device as different users? No, it's a personalized PC, so each individual user would have their own Windows 365 license allocated to them. It's the same way that you would assign a Microsoft 365 license. You have your own license, so no. Eddie Palmer, are there some assumptions that there's an Azure paid for license required before this will be available to a user? So we did cover off some of the prerequisites. For the business version, there's no additional licensing required. From the enterprise version, you need a Windows 10 or Windows 11 enterprise version operating system. You need Azure Active Directory Premium P1, and you also need either an Intune license or Microsoft Endpoint Manager license. Cliff Groves, if I already have an Azure hosted server or domain controller, can Windows 365 integrate with that? I did actually have a question around this the other day. I believe it can. I'll again check on that one for you just to be sure. Carl Gibson, is this license-based or resource-based or both? Are there savings put for powering down virtual machines out of hours? No, it's completely license-based. It's a fixed per user per month price. So the only way you're going to get savings is if you reduce the compute or storage power and go for a different configuration option.
Alex Hodgson asked if several users can share one Windows 365 device. So it's purely intended, so Windows 365 allows one user per license, so it doesn't support multiple users on a single cloud PC.
Clive Martin, can you transfer a Windows 365 to a different user within the organization? Yes, of course. It's literally the same as if you had a Microsoft 365 license, so you can just change who it's assigned to. Last one. So, oh, This could be a good way of using up redundant PCs, i.e. ones that now have unsupported operating systems on them, XP maybe, assuming you use the business version, of course. Yeah, as long as it meets the prerequisites, then you should be absolutely fine to use any device, really. Can you run graphics applications on this, such as Adobe Cloud? Again, I think you can. I can confirm which applications. I know there are some line of business apps that you can use on it, but I'll see if we can find a kind of list of those for you and let you know. Is there any plan for an education edition or license? I know they're doing a lot of work. There's a lot of new elements coming to Windows 365. I can imagine it is in the pipeline, but at the moment they're just sticking to the corporate ones at the moment. Do we know what the pricing is going to be? Yes, we have the pricing. It's available in Cascade, so feel free to ask your account manager or pop Minnie and I a message and we can get that pricing over to you. Is it accessible via the browser or a Windows 365 app? So yes, you can access it from a browser. You can also access it from a portal, the Windows 365 portal. As far as I'm aware, there aren't any unsupported browsers, so you should be fine with that. Lee Conway, I've noticed the pricing is more expensive than the one advertised on Microsoft. If that was due to the ebook that was sent out, the pricing is incorrect in that ebook. It is correct in Cascade. So please ignore the pricing in the ebook. We are trying to rectify that, but unfortunately, anyone who had already downloaded the ebook before it was sent out has got the incorrect pricing. But the pricing in Cascade is all correct. So you can find it in there, or as I said, get in touch and we can send it through to you. Will there be any technical demonstrations? Yes, we have a pre-sales engineer assigned to Windows 365. So we'll make sure that moving forward, we'll be able to get some technical demonstrations for you. In the meantime, there is an interactive demo, which we can send a link through to in the follow-up. This is a kind of guided demo, so it doesn't allow a lot of kind of playing around, but at least kind of give you some kind of idea of the functionality. Just trying to check I've not missed any questions because it jumps every time someone new puts a question in. Minnie, is there any that I've missed, you know?
Let me just have a look.
Scott Brandt, are there any migration approaches to move to Windows 365 from other technologies where user profiles are stored? Can you clarify what you mean by that? Sorry. Oh, sorry, I missed a question. Thank you, Eddie, for bringing that to my attention. Tom, you asked a question around how would remote support be provided to an end user? Would it work with the likes of TeamViewer or otherwise? I am not sure on that one, unfortunately. I'll get back to you on that. Do you deploy applications using the Intune or Autopilot endpoint manager tools? Yes. I think that is all of the questions we have so far, unless there's any other ones that I missed.
I've had a look through. I don't think there are any mysteries.
Yes, Kyle, costs on Cascade are per user per month. Alex, follow up to Eddie. Presume admins would be able to configure to directly access the Windows 365. Sorry. Presume admins would be able to log in directly to access the Windows 365 PC. Yes, it's administered the same way that you would administer a normal Microsoft 365 license. We'll stick around for any more questions if you've got any more. But otherwise, if that's it from everyone, then thanks very much for joining. It's great to see so many of you. If you do have any further questions, obviously feel free to stick them in the chat now. We'll stay here until the end of the session, or feel free to contact Minnie and I directly, and we can answer any following today's session as well. Oh, for anyone, Tom, you wanted the interactive demo. Megan's just popped it in the chat for you.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Are there any questions that we haven't managed to answer? We will follow up in the afterwards when we send you the recording and make sure we fully answer all the questions, so there won't be anything left behind.